Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back and with another MMO this time. For those of you who are aware of it, Rift is the new MMO from Tyrian Worlds. It's currently entered its open beta stage this week, so I'll be doing quite a few videos on this. There are a few already out there floating around, but I thought I'd do my take on it. Now, first things, when you log in and create a new character, you're asked to choose one of two factions. The first being the Guardians, who you can see me going through now on screen, the other being the Defiants, who I will choose later and go through them. The stories are all explained. I've actually got the cutscenes from the stories in here, so I will let them play and you can watch those to your heart's content. Now, as you can see, the character models are a lot higher quality than the other game that everyone knows I play, which is World of Warcraft, and as a heads up, I will be comparing this to World of Warcraft. It's a game I know in and out, it's a game I play a lot of, so yes, it's another MMO, and yes, it's the same kind of MMO, push button, receive bacon kind of mechanic that I'm used to. So, yeah, a lot of people have been complaining about the fact it's the next WoW killer, and that those are terms that I do not like to hear. Let's be fair, WoW pulls in something like 12 million people. You're never going to kill that outright. You have to make an amazing game to kill that outright, and it's never going to happen. But there are something close to 12 billion people on the planet. There's more than enough for two games to have a massive share of the market. And to be fair, as we go through, you'll see why I like a lot of the mechanics in Rift and why I will probably be subscribing to it on release. Now, anyway, the character classes you've got are your standard. You've got your humans, or Mythosians as they're called. You've got your elves, which I can never remember what they're called, and the dwarves, which are dwarves. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be using a male elf, a high elf. There we go. Now you have for calling, so to speak, you've got your warrior, which is your standard hit things with sword. You've got your cleric, which is your standard hit things and heal it. Now, just to make people aware, these are only, I don't know how to describe them, they're callings. You'll see what I mean in more detail when we go into the specs and that. Mage, which is hit things with spell, and there's also a healing tree in the mage one. And then there's rogue, which is hit things with daggers and weapons and guns and pointy objects. Anyway, for this tutorial I'm going to go, or for this video I'm going to go with a rogue. You can randomly generate both a name, and I'm going to keep going until I find one I like. And you can also manually adjust all your character settings or just adjust individually. As you can see, there's a lot of variation between height, facial features, hair, you name it, it can be changed in the character models. Anyway, once I've picked the look that I like, I'm going to hit ready, and you'll be presented with the intro sequence to the game. I will swap the audio channels over so you can actually hear that, and you can have a look through that and see what you think of it.
The king of Mythosia would have sacrificed the world to Regulos the Destroyer. The faithful rebelled against his heresy. We overthrew the tyrant and put his armies to the sword. Defeated in battle, he turned to the machines of the Defiants. Their devices drew upon the power of the dragon, a power they could not control. This is the day the rifts came. This is the day we died. But the gods of the Vigil intervened. Their messengers went among the fallen and ascended the worthy, not for their virtue, but for their might. In you, they placed their faith, their hope, and their power. You are our salvation. You are a guardian.
So there you have it, a brief introduction to who you are and why you're there. Now, this first area is the Sanctuary of Rebirth, and it's where you start and where the tutorial effectively takes place. Now, the basics you get are how to move, how to control your character, standard MMO affair. The controls are almost an exact duplicate of Warcraft, which is standard these days for most MMOs. They all seem to have the same kind of schemes. You can look at quest givers and that. As you can see here, the green exclamation mark is a new quest. The speech bubble is like a a talk quest, or like you got to talk to them to progress the quest. And then there's a few others like no quest available, or you're on that quest. And then standard rewards of gear, money, or XP. Now this first quest, if you want to read it, by the way, feel free to pause the video. I'm not going to read the quest text out. But this one gives you your first soul. Now your soul is one of the sort of subsections to your abilities. There are 8 souls in total, and each one grants certain abilities. Trying to think of a way to describe souls. They're an interesting gameplay mechanic to put it like that. Imagine your talent tree in Warcraft. A soul is like one set of talents, but almost entirely for that ability. So in this example, I was looking through here for the rogue ones. There's loads of different ones. Again, if you want to read the descriptions in more detail, pause it. I will cover the ones that I picked today. There's a marksman. I'm looking at building a hunter type character, a ranged character. And I was looking down here and it's like, well, there's a marksman, and there's a ranger which has a pet. And then I saw saboteur. Now, the easiest way to get me to pick a class is either to give it jetpacks or explosives. And with this one I went, ooh, explosives. So I've grabbed that, and I will run down to the quest now that's appeared downstairs and hand that in. Now this ability here is a racial. It's pretty much, it doesn't do anything other than make you fly. Yeah, that's right. It's a jump, pretty much. It's a flashy looking jump. Each character, each race has a kind of special ability. I kind of like this one for the way it looks. As you can see, it doesn't reduce full damage. I jump, I'm still taking full damage, but it's incredibly funny to watch. The humans have, or the Mythosians I should say, have a group sprint ability, and the dwarves they pretty much can full double the distance of any other race before they take any damage. Anyway, here's where we pick our first soul, and I'm going to go for saboteur. As I said, the word explosives popped out right out of me. It's like, ooh, you can use explosives. But I did have a quick look around the other ones here. There's an assassin style, which is more like your standard World of Warcraft rogue. There's quite a unique set of combinations. Although the game does recommend some pairings to you, or suggest pairings to you, you can completely ignore it and build whatever the hell you like. I don't know whether these are more or less efficient. I haven't really reached that far in the game. But they do provide a whole friggin' load of choice. So there we go. I've now gone for saboteur, and as you can see, my spells will appear on the bar automatically at the bottom. The abilities are, in fact the game will tell you sort of what's happened here, that you've gained a soul and how to equip it. Again, P brings up your spell book so you can see exactly what you've got in there, but the first few you learn automatically appear on your action bar. Now the first move I've got throws it's called blast charge, and it throws a little explosive sticky ball onto your target. You can do that 5 times. Every time you throw it generates a combo point. The move next to it is detonate, which you can probably guess how that works. It detonates all your sticky balls. The more combo points you have, the more damage it will do. And the final one there is it's a sticky trap. I can't remember the name of it, but you throw it down on the floor. It's an AoE style effect. You throw it on the floor, and it slows people going through it by 70%. So great if all you do is you throw that down, throw grenades, and then blow them up at the same time. You see why I like this class. Boom. Now I quite like the little quest complete animation, the way it sort of flashes out there and comes at you. It's just little things like that. Now this uses a quest tracking system similar to what Warcraft has now, and what Warhammer Online uses as well. If you bring up the map, you can see sort of everything where you've got to go inside one area there. So the orange circle is where all your quest objectives are, and the shiny, I can't remember what the shiny triangle means, the shiny star shape, I think it means that's where an actual objective is. So if you've got to pick something up, or like a singular objective. So anyway, these are the things we've got to kill. So I chuck 5 bombs on it. As you can see up in the top corner, I'm generating combo points. So that's 5 bombs on it, 5 combo points as well. Detonate. It died. Now, you don't detonate the combo points. The combo points just increase the power of the detonation. You actually detonate the charges. As you apply them to a target, you'll see the number of charges appearing underneath the targets. Now, as you can see, there's a little debuff appearing that says 5 charges. And then once you've got enough, you can detonate. You can detonate with 1 combo point, so there's a lot of play for mixing and matching abilities, as you'll see a bit later on. Now, one thing that the game doesn't stress, which I think would be possibly a bit more helpful to new players, is that the spec you pick will greatly influence your leveling for the first couple of levels. If you pick a bad spec, you will be stuck with it till you can get the next soul. Or sorry, if you pick a bad soul, I should say. If I say spec, I mean soul. And that's actually mean spec. I'll clarify when I get to those points. But as you can see here, I have no direct damage abilities. All my abilities come from throwing explosives. I can stab it with my weapon, but that doesn't really do much, because again, the explosion bases itself on weapon modifier, so the better your weapon is, the better the explosions will be. But I can't hit for very much at all, as you see me trying in a minute. I do take a fair bit of damage. I think I even die in the tutorial area, which is almost a first for me. So anyway, this is our slow grenade now, so I'm going to throw it over there. He gets slowed, I can stack him up with explosives, and then boom, he dies. I'm going to get his friend as well. As you notice, his friend aggroed when she walked into the area of effect, so you've got to watch out for that. It's a bit like Death and Decay, if you've played a Death Knight. I was trying to avoid using a Warcraft reference, but yeah, if they catch it, it does do damage to them. Or in this case, it doesn't do any damage, but they do get slowed, so they then come running over to you and try to beat you in the face. Circle of Frost will be the other one that's like that. They touch it and they get frozen, they then get aggro on you. So anyway, once you've killed all these and completed the quest, you can then go back and hand it in and get your next one, which I think is the next one, gives you your next soul as well. Now this is where Rift's major mechanic is the soul system. You can actually have 3 souls, so the equivalent of having 3 entirely separate abilities that you can channel into. It's sort of like the talent system, only far more customizable. Whereas with the talent system you pick mage and you get a case of fire, frost or ice or whatever. There's a whole load here. Now custom key bindings are always important. I have auto run on tilde. That's the reason I've gone in here now. The reason being for that is if I press numlock it turns my Naga off, so I have to keep pressing numlock on and off. And the other cool thing about Rift is a built-in UI customizer. You hit escape, customize UI, you can drag everything around to where you want it to be. You could lock it in different positions, you can do what you like. It's quite impressive actually for something that's just built as standard into the game. Although I use Bartender in Warcraft, I was quite impressed with that. So there we go, I've leveled up and I get a choice of rewards. I think I went for the dagger or something, I can't remember now. Anyway, it tells you that you've leveled up, you've now got some talent points to spend, or soul points as it calls them. So, 3 guesses as to which key brings up your talent point tree. You won't need it if you've played Warcraft, it's N. So I will cover that in just a moment, where we go through the talent points and see what's available. Now this guy is also offering me my next soul, or next soul quest. Once you complete this one, you can then choose a second soul. And as you can see there, we've got a pop-up just telling us how the interaction system works. It's pretty much standard fare. If you right-click on something, you interact with it, providing it is an interactable object. Now I've just made a new friend because I wasn't paying attention. I should have thrown the trap down first. I'll drag him over, blow him up. Again, this is what I mean about having an odd choice of soul. This is meant to be used as an offensive soul, but it's probably better tied with another, like a more direct head-on offensive soul. As you can see, I haven't got any form of defense. Now the soul achievement, or talent window, depending on how you want to call it, is broken up into 3 sections. You've got, each section is the soul that you're using, and then inside there you've got the talents you can spend in the top half. So it's like a tree, as the game even describes it as a tree. As you spend points in the top half of the tree, however, the bottom half expands. Can you see there is like a zigzag of talents beneath the tree? The first one unlocks at 2 points, so if I put 2 points in here, ta-da, ability unlocks, Fragmentation Bomb, which pretty much is an AoE bomb effect. I'll go into that, and you'll see in action in a bit. But the other thing with the soul tree is you can only spend points in it up to your level. So say you're level 6, but you actually have 9 points. You can only spend 6 of those points in a tree. Once you get there, it won't let you spend any more until you've leveled up, which I'm not sure how I feel on this at the moment. I might wait till I've leveled a bit more before I give a definite response to that one. It's quite limiting to start with, but you can respec as well, although respecing does cost money, of course. But I suppose it's nice to have a limit of you can't put too many talents in one area and just go entirely down one tree, but maybe some people want to do that. I guess it encourages variation though, rather than people just going, oh, I'm going to be a necromancer, which I did on one of my characters. I want to be a necromancer. I picked 2 crappy souls I wasn't really too worried about. I think I got pyromancer or something else. But I literally tried shoving all my points to necromancer and found out I couldn't, so I then had to start investing in the other talent trees, and that's when you realise there's actually some cool stuff there. So it's like the fire one has like a burning ring of fire. Sound like a Johnny Cash song. I can't remember, I think it's flame binding, which literally locks the target to the ground. They can't go anywhere. So there's some cool stuff that you don't realise at first. Now for this quest I just need to kill these guys and loot some crazy swords that they've got. Right, actually I'll go over, while I'm doing this, is I'll go over the combo point system as well, and the energy system. Again, energy works a lot like Warcraft Roads, it regenerates when you're out of combat. The combo point system is, as you do an attack you build a combo point. Certain attacks build 1, some attacks build 2, auto attacks don't build any. But what is worth noting is that the combo points from different types of attacks can be used. So for example, if I stack explosives like that, I can then use headshot to use all the combo points. I haven't got headshot yet, but you'll see that in once I've got the next. So it opens up a lot of variations. I mean, you can only detonate, you can't detonate combo points, you only detonate the actual abilities buff stack, if that makes sense. So when you see me stacking the grenades on a target, when I detonate it, that's what will cause the damage, is detonating that stack. You can't just stack like 5 combo points for another spell and then detonate. You can use the detonate ability, won't do anything because there's nothing there for it to detonate, which is quite cool, but did confuse me slightly because I couldn't figure out why I wasn't doing a lot of damage. But you kind of build up some rotations as you go along. Again, I have no idea what's right and what's wrong, but I like having this much freedom because you kind of play around with it and learn. Here's a point where I've accidentally pulled 2 of these guards, and they're quite hard hitting as well. So I've tried to slow them down, run away, detonate, throw the grenade, try again. Now these guys hit very hard, and because I haven't got any way of keeping them at range, I'm just running around now. As you can see, he's probably going to kill me. Yeah, there we go, dead. When you die, there are 2 ways of resurrecting. One is respawn, which will take you to the nearest graveyard or spirit healer. If you've, again, we're using Warcraft terminology, I really shouldn't be. The other one is Spirit Walk, which you can only do once every hour, I believe it was, but it lets you run from your corpse to a nearby location and then res after about 15-20 seconds, so that's what I'm doing now. See? I literally got up, ran out of the way, so it's enough time to run away from something that's seriously harassing you, and then you auto-res when you get there. So once I've got a bit more health, I can now actually successfully take this guy down. The other thing you'll notice is I also don't have a whole set of foods and that with me. I don't need food and water, you just get a bottle of water which does both health and mana. Simple enough. There's inventory clutter in my book. Now one thing I must say is that Rift looks absolutely gorgeous, and I mean I'm a fan of Warcraft's visuals. Even, what is it now, 7 years on, Warcraft still looks pretty damn good. But it's nice to step into another game and actually go, wow. And as you'll see later, I get some awesome views. I mean, I've got a fairly beefy graphics card in this, and it lets me have pretty much everything up to max res apart from AA, which it just really hates. I think it's on AA ×2. But having played Fallen Earth and sort of, don't get me wrong, Fallen Earth is a good looking game, but the animations are a bit sort of glitchy. I was playing this, watching the humans run, and it's like I don't actually feel that that's a glitchy animation. It doesn't look like it's too perfect, too symmetrical is sometimes a problem. Anyway, let's have my quest in, and this guy hands you 2 items, like a primary, I wouldn't say primary and secondary, but weapons that are both useful for your class. As a cleric it's like a mace and a warhammer, as a caster it's like a casting knife and a casting stick. A staff, stave, there we go. What I'm going to do is give me a dagger and a bow, so I'm going to equip them both. Again, inventory management, pretty much standard MMO fare. You press C to open your character window, you press B to open your backpack. The only one I get this confused with is I occasionally for inventory, but it doesn't do anything in this game, so it's fine by me. And as you can see, I've got a shoot spell. I wasn't too sure how this operated, so I dragged it to my action bar. I did already have a bow, but I wasn't able to use it, so I didn't really look at this at the beginning, which might have helped actually, rather than trying to stab stuff with a dagger, but never mind. Anyway, this woman here is going to give me my next soul, which I've decided now that after leveling with explosives is, it's fun, don't get me wrong, I like explosives, but there's no way of killing multiple targets at this low level very easily, so I'm going to go for something with a bit more pizzazz, and that is the Ranger style spec, which is the Hunter, I suppose I call it Hunter Beastmaster spec, so to speak. Again, if you play Warcraft you'll know exactly what I mean. If you haven't, it's a ranged class with a pet. And as you can see, I've now got additional soul tree, so I can either put an extra point into my first soul tree, or I can just stack it into the other one. And what I've decided here in the Ranger one is I'm going to go for improved pet. It'll improve pet health kind of thing. Again, you can hold your cursor over your soul and see more about it as well. I was just kind of recapping to see what did what. So we've got Eagle Eye, which is a crit increase, and this one here, Enduring, which is a pet bonus. So as you can see, I put that in there, and I've now got Scatter Shot, or Split Shot. I think it's Splitter Shot. Sorry, is what it is, not Scatter Shot. Too much Hunter in Warcraft. So now I've got that. I chuck my bow. Now, one thing that throws a lot of people when they pick up the second soul is they end up with a whole new load of spells that sometimes seem exactly the same as your other ones. 90% of the times they are, because don't forget, if you'd picked this soul at the beginning, you would have received those basic abilities instead. So what I've done now, if you go into Escape, Interface, and then added in, you can add in extra bars as you've seen there. Now, because I have a Razor Naga, I'm also going to remap all the keys to something I can find a bit more useful, because I really hate using like control number key combinations if I don't have to. So yeah, just go in there and just remap them quite easily. But yeah, you will end up with duplicate spells. Don't panic about this. I have a friend who got really confused by the fact she had certain spells that were all the same. She didn't quite understand why she had those sort of spells that were all the same, and it wasn't until I sat down and played the warrior class, because as a mage I literally was just rotating between them because I like different colours. Leave me alone, alright? It's fire, death, shadow, fire, death, shadow. Just literally I rotated through them. When you sit and read the spells, some spells have effects. So for example, none of these actually have any other effects other than the blast charge one, because that generates the actual blast charges required to use detonate. All abilities generate combo points, so that's not a problem. But it's a combination of how you use those abilities. So for example, I'm just going to summon my pet as well, by the way. That's a Razor Beast. It's the first pet you get as a hunter, and it looks quite cool in my book. So to start with here, if we look at my skills now, right, what I've done is I've taken off the ones that I don't really think I'm going to use, and I'm rearranging the ones that I am going to use. So I've now got Shot, which generates a combo point, so that's the equivalent of Sinister Strike, but at a range. So that every time you use that, generates a combo point. Next to that, I've got Blast Charge, which also generates a combo point and sticks one stack of the detonator on the target. Next to that, I've got my Sticky Bomb, and I think I'm going to move Sticky Bomb actually, because I don't like where it is. And then the one next to that is my Fragmentation Grenade. Now, in combat, I have a couple of choices. I can either just use the first move, which is my kind of it's not an auto shot, it's a kind of shot that does combo point damage, so to speak. So if I call it Sinister Shot because I cannot remember the name of it. So you use Sinister Shot, it generates combo points. Once you've got those combo points, you can then either use them for headshot or detonate. Now it's pointless using it on detonate because you haven't put any blast charges on it. So absolutely no point in doing that whatsoever. What I tend to do is I was rotating through, I was using, because I didn't realise I couldn't detonate combo points at this point, I thought I was detonating combo points, not detonating the actual ability. I was kind of doing the shots followed by the blast charge followed by a shot, and then maybe throw in the splitter shot that I've got as well, which generates 2 combo points. Wasn't until after playing around that I realised that it's not how it works. So what I could have done, or what I could do now, is take off the shot move and just replace it with blast charge, and just keep chucking out blast charges and detonating them, and then just use splitter shot on occasion. In fact, I could chuck out blast charges, get 5 stacks, use headshot, because I've then used all the combo points up, but I can't detonate now because I've got no combo points, so I could then use splitter shot and maybe throw out 2 more charges or something to get up my combo points, or I could use splitter shot followed by auto shot to chuck them out. There's a whole load of combinations. Some of them are really, like that one there was actually really bad, because when you think about it, I've got a stack of blast charge on the enemy that doesn't do anything. From what I can tell, it doesn't do damage over time, so leaving it on there is no point whatsoever. You need to detonate it as quickly as possible. So your other option is to do 5 stacks of blast charge, detonate, blast charge, detonate, and then do maybe a splitter shot and some auto shots and then headshot. Or maybe you just don't want to play like that, maybe just do blast charges all the time, blast charge, detonate, it's fine. Absolutely fine, because the game doesn't punish you for that. It goes experiment. Have some fun, play with stuff. And I mean, it's that amount of freedom that, as I said, will overwhelm some people until they actually understand that some of the moves are exactly the same, and they are exactly the same, and you can literally go, actually I don't like that one, don't like that one. Necromancer is another one, is that Necromancer gets a death bolt, and that death bolt actually increases the damage your pet does on the target. Then you get, say you pick a Pyromancer, you get a firebolt. The firebolt doesn't have any set effect like that. It does a little bit more damage to compensate, but it doesn't have any actual subtle effects that increase pet damage. So as a necromancer, you're always going to have a pet out, so you use the death bolt all the time. You could ignore the other two. But it's the choices there. As I said, until I realised that on the necromancer, I just used to cycle through shadow bolt, death bolt, firebolt, purely because of the fact I like the different casting and the different spells. But as you move along, the more advanced stuff in the trees, you probably will start using individually. It's like there's a fire one that's a pillar of fire that erupts out the ground. You can use that along with your necromancy spells because it doesn't take away from your deathbolt spell. It doesn't build up with the firebolt spell or anything like that. It's literally just an added spell that just goes boom out the ground. Simple, extra damage. And again, this character class, another example is that the fact that combo points can be built off of anything. All your spells build combo points. It's on how you choose to spend them. You can either use a headshot or you could detonate. It's making those choices and those decisions and choosing how you're going to be. I mean, there's always going to be min-max specs that are better than everybody else. That is the nature of any game. But for those of us who just like to come on and have some fun, don't care about min-maxing. I care about how I can mix and match my spells to make stuff blow up. Eventually, yes, I'll get to a point where actually I could kill this faster if I did this and this, but I would have got there on my own. I'd have had a play around and gone, actually, this is quite a quick way of killing it, or I could do this. It helps that they also give the pet some pretty decent talents as well. As you saw then, my boar kind of goes all sparkly and launches itself forward. You can also rename pets as well, and skeletons. I don't know about certain pets. I know you can do the little ethereal beasts that some tanking classes get as well. You just right click on the pet and go rename, or type /pet name space and then enter a new name. But yeah, so far what's selling me on this game is the whole amount of friggin' variety you can put in. As long as you don't let it overwhelm you. If you feel overwhelmed with it, I recommend sort of stopping somewhere safe and just reading all the spell descriptions. Figure out what each spell does. If it generates combo points, it's good. If it lets you spend the combo points, work out if you're going to use that, or if you have another move that spends combo points in a better way. As I said, I could just literally chuck out explosives to my heart's content and then detonate every time I get 5 stacks, detonate. That would probably be more DPS than doing explosives plus shot plus explosives plus shot. It all completely depends. Now this quest here that I'm doing, is one of my, I wouldn't say it's my favourite one, but it's definitely one of the more interesting. You get given a little dagger, and you're told to go and pray at this like altar, which I couldn't click on to save my life earlier. So once you've done that, you get greeted by a vigil messenger, and they give you an upgrade, or they enchant this dagger, this sacrificial dagger that you've had to pray with. So I'm going to fly over here and clonk myself on a tree. As you can see, quest items appear at the side as well. That's what I was telling you. It's again very Warcrafty. The fact that once you get a quest item, oh look, you click on it here. Again, Warhammer did the same thing, and you use that to summon giant ghostly trees that kick the crap out of your target. That is pretty cool, I must admit, and they look pretty awesome as well. Although their animations when they disappear is this sort of bit of a just fade out kind of in whatever the middle of whatever they're doing. They do look quite cool when you summon them. And as you notice, my pet gets a little bit eager and goes straight in for the attack sometimes. But again, the pet helps. The pet is a good addition once you, especially if you've got like Saboteur as your like the first thing you picked up. You'll start realizing how much you really needed a pet. Because it's got loads of different moves. The pets all have like 2 moves to start with, and one of them creates a dump load, a threat. The other one is just an attack move. As you saw, it's like a charge as well. But it really does help. It just keeps everything off you because you are a little bit squishy. I'd imagine if you're an assassin, you get some kind of stealth move. But I decided against that. I wanted to go for the ranged class, see what the ranged was like. Again, you can once you've got your first 3 souls, you can unlock the remaining 5. I think it is 5, 6, 7, yeah, 5. You can unlock the remaining 5 souls, and you can then swap between them. You can have 4. Now here we go. You can have 4 specs. So imagine that as your talent swapping. You can have 4 completely different sets of souls and talents, and you can change between them at will. You can have 8. You got 4. Hang on a second. Yeah, 4 specs, and in any of those specs, you can have any combination of your 8 callings. Obviously, you can't have the same calling twice. Sorry, not calling. You can have 8 any combination, any 3 from the 8 souls. Now you can't have the same soul twice because that would be silly, but you can just mix and match, so you could get some really random builds coming out of this. I've already had someone tell me that apparently you can tank as a rogue. I've not tested this yet, and I've not seen anything sort of showing you how to do it, but there is a talent in the rogue tree that lets you, by the looks of it, it's a defensive one, and it does look like it gives you the ability to tank, so I wouldn't doubt that person if they are correct on that. I will have a look at that later as we go along. The mage one, again, also has a healing tree. I think it's currently called Chloromancer. I don't know whether that's getting changed or not, because it's a plant-based healing. Yeah, it's a plant-based healing tree from what I understand. I've not really looked into it that much. So, the Chloromancer is a healing tree that would allow you to heal. I don't know how well it would allow you to heal. It may be a bit naff. It may be actually rather good. But you could have a spec that strengthens that healing tree. You can have a spec that lets you perform all your damage and heal yourself to take the stress off healers, but not actually let you heal a whole raid or whatever, or a whole group. It's pretty much let your imagination run wild, which, believe me, mine will. I have already thought up some rather random combination of spells that just... I like going against, I must admit, it's one of those sort of guilty pleasures. Like, I love going against the recommended. It's like, oh yeah, we recommend you take this. I don't care. It's like my Necromancer, he's got Pyromancer, that's not even near recommended, and it's like, yeah, but I want flaming zombie skeletons. I don't know if I can actually set them on fire. That'd be pretty awesome if I could just buff them all up with fire spells. But it does add a bit of variation in there. The fact it's like, oh yeah, we recommend that this will go well, and a lot of them do go well together. If it says we recommend X goes with Y, as you can see here, Saboteur and Ranger are recommended that they go together. The reason for that is because of the fact that obviously your pet goes in and keeps their aggro, you just stack them with explosives. Like that. That's not the pet exploding, by the way, that's his, I'm not sure what it's called, but it's some kind of aggro generating charge. Now someone ever so nicely dropped their aggro onto me there, I'm not sure why. But with a little bit of pet control, a little bit of finesse. Again, for new starters, I recommend following the recommended soul tree stuff, and unless you are quite confident or you play a lot of online games in that way, at which point you look at it and go, yeah, do you know what, fuck it, I want one of the talents. I want whatever talents I can get my hands on. I do recommend the starting ones are there for a reason, and they give you an idea. And also, don't pick Saboteur as a starting profession. You will die if you accidentally pull too many. Pick it as a second soul once you get to the second part. As you saw, it's not very far between getting the first and the second, but you probably will struggle leveling as a Saboteur. Bard is the other one. You'll struggle leveling as a Bard to start with, but you can get it as like your second or third soul. Doesn't cause any problems then. Now this little forest area I quite like. There's a couple of quests here. At the moment I'm just doing a kill quest, which the thing with kill quest is that because I actually have so many talents and souls and that to go through, I find myself varying. I know I can kill these things without much of a problem, but I kind of vary. This is how I found out that Detonate doesn't actually detonate stacks of souls. It does other stuff. But also it lets you talent and play around. It's like I can throw sticky grenades while running, which is brilliant because I can run away and then blow stuff up. Or die in this case. Oh no, wait, no, I remember this bit. I lived through it just. Although the other cool thing is when you get low on health, as you saw there, the screen whited out, and then once your health starts regenerating, which it does quite quickly, it goes back to normal. But pet health also immediately regenerates once it's out of combat, which is great because you can heal it while it's in combat, and then the moment it's out of combat, it's back to full health. Don't have to worry about it again. I'm not sure whether that's a bug or whether that's actually meant to happen, but I kind of like it because it does mean I don't have to worry about healing my pet every 5 minutes. It's one thing that bugged me with a hunter is if your pet got hurt quite heavily, you could chuck a heal on it and run around a bit, but sometimes it didn't heal all the way and you had to keep chucking another heal or feed it pet biscuits or whatever you had to do to keep it happy. Happiness is something that drives me mad as well. Don't care if you're happy or not. What are you going to do? Oh, less damage. Oh great, I have to go and waste time feeding you now. I'd much rather have my pet quite happily eat off the ground. Now since this is just a kill quest for the rest of it, I'm just going to skip us forward. Or in fact I'm going to skip us forward, I'm just going to ramp the speed up a bit so you can just see the run back. As you can see here, I tend to aggro everything on my way through. But because I don't have too much of a problem killing it, and as it's like to swap my spells out, I tend to just kill everything anyway. Had a bit of a minor issue here where the game's not the game, but my PC decided it was just going to have enough and shut everything down. Some virus update I'd missed, so I manually restarted, got back to where we were. Handed the quests in. One of these hands out a little pocket pouch, a new bag, so you can stick that straight in your action bar. Now there's quite a few bits of stuff I'm now carrying in my bag. As you saw, one of them there is a little book. It's a yellow book called something about a warlock that you pick up. It's a collectible. Stuff like that you can pick up and you can then sort of put it in a collections book. And once you've got it in that collections book, you can then collect whole collections and hand-finish collections into some guy in this capital city. I can't actually remember his name, and I'll probably cover that in another video once I get that far. So yeah, next few quests are to go back into here, kill more stuff and channel more stuff. So you've been given a quest item again. The idea is you've got to kill a golem, then convert the golem. What I'm going to do is just accelerate this up again, because it's just more running around and killing stuff, which everyone kind of knows how that works. There we go, 300% speed solves all problems. Now, where's he on? Can't see it on my action bars now. I was going to say that there was another spell I had on my action bar temporarily that I can't remember whether I kept it after my game crashed or not actually, but it was pretty much, it was the same as my like it was another just general generation spell. It's not worth keeping stuff like that. If you're never going to use it, I find chuck it off your action bars, because one thing that will happen is your action bars will get absolutely packed with stuff. Seriously. There's a lot of stuff that you can slap on your action bars that is just either never going to get used or isn't relevant to your spec. So it's always worth just having a clean out, making sure you haven't got anything extra in there. Something that has struck me actually while playing Rift and through all the betas is how polished the betas have been and how good the community team are for their communication. Anyone who follows the Rift game feed on Twitter, Zan is normally the one posting on there, and they provide a hell of a lot of updates. There was an issue, I believe, last night after I finished recording all this and went to bed, that I think they'd taken one of the servers down, one of the servers went down, it fell down, and there's communication on Twitter from them again, yeah, we know it's down, we're working on it, and then it was back up again. Stuff like that is nice to see from a developer, especially when you get used to Blizzard's kind of soon, or yeah, we're looking into it. I mean, fair enough, sometimes they don't want to give release dates on features and that, and I can wholeheartedly respect that, but being able to see when a server is down that it wasn't meant to go down and that they are working to fix it, and I have been on a server where there's been broadcasts from the development, the dev teams, the devs and that, saying this is going to happen, this is what's happening. Communication is key, and any company who doesn't communicate to the customer normally generates bad rep from it. I mean, Blizzard, they're kind of hit and miss with this. Sometimes they'll communicate issues, other times they won't even acknowledge an issue's there until it's been to certain channels and someone says, yeah, it's an issue, blah 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 blah. It's nice to see that someone goes, yeah, do you know what, there is an issue, we're working on it. And it's like, it might not even be a major issue, it could just be a little issue, but it's communicated back, going, yeah, hi guys, we're aware of this issue, it might only be affecting 5%, but hey, look, there's an issue, we're working on it. I cannot stress enough how nice it is to see a development team and that community managers come back to the community and actually give them meaningful responses rather than just templated, yeah, we'll look into this kind of stuff. I mean, in fact, if I swap to my Twitter feed a second, here we go, post from Zan, this is 8 hours ago on my timescale. It's currently 8:39 in the morning, GMT, where I am. Well, GMT, it's obviously Britain, or England, depending on how you take that one. Zan posted about 8 hours ago saying, we accidentally, the whole internet, thanks for your patience while we keep working on this. About an hour later, another post, Rift Game says, servers have been open, thanks for your patience everyone. And then another one, couple of minutes after that one, looks at saying, servers are now back online and open, thanks for your patience. So, within an hour, whatever the issue was being resolved. Now, some issues can't be resolved within an hour. I know that myself. I work in IT, so occasionally you will get something fail, and no matter how hard you try, you might be able to work around it, but it's never going to be optimum capacity. But it's communication. Communication is king, as I will say over and over again. If you have to tell someone that you're doing something, they'd rather know, yeah, it's gone wrong and you're aware of it, than just not know anything at all. And again, I'm comparing my customer service experiences to people like Blizzard. Again, it's a large company and a large team, but I don't think that should be any excuse. They do communicate some things, just not a lot of things. Sometimes they just kind of glaze over it. The login server might be down, and you won't see a post on the forums for, especially if it's a weekend, you won't see any posts on the forums, and there might even be an acknowledgement of, yeah, the login server was down. But I don't know whether they see it as a sign of weakness or whether they just don't feel like communicating. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, well, hang on a second, I'm paying you for a service. The least you could do is give me an update when something goes wrong with that service. I mean, there are people who will take it to the extreme and obviously whine and complain about it being down, but at the end of the day, I like to know it's down, I like to know it's being worked on. That's it. That's all I expect for a product I pay for. Anyway, enough whining about customer service issues. The quest I'm doing at the moment, again, all kill quests, which is why I haven't really gone out of my way to drag any points around regarding what's going on. I don't mind kill quests at this point in the story because it's a war. You're in open war, so all the kill quests are kill the stuff that's going to kill you otherwise. So I kind of let it slide. I'll see as we're leveling if we get more of these or less of these. But again, kill quests are kind of like the easiest quest to do anyway, especially if you've got a decent spec or a decent build. It makes everything 100 times easier. It's not like gather quests. I mean, I haven't had any gather quests actually. No, wait, yes I do. I get one in this area actually, and as you'll see, almost everything I kill drops it. Now, I had a little bit of a technical issue here, so I'm just going to cut forward a second. I say technical issue, it was less of a technical issue and more of someone come barging into my room demanding I help them fix a PC problem, but hey. Unfortunately, because of that, I did miss this quest here. It's an event quest. You use an item on that pedestal there and it activates and summons through some bad guys on a dragon that you've got to kill, or a dragon whelp I should say. Unfortunately, I can't show you that one, so that'll be one to look forward to when you play this yourself, if you play it yourself. Anyway, gonna kill off the remaining skeletons I need and then head back, so I'll just speed that up. Okay, so the rest of this area now is rather well done, I must admit. It teaches you a lot of the basic mechanics of the game. I'm trying to think how to explain it without ruining it. Some of them I will cover as we come across them. Pretty much, the story so far is that you've been resurrected by the Vigil, as you saw earlier at the beginning, and you're now trying to stop the invasion of the plains. So you've been resurrected, but you're still in the war, so to speak. The war hasn't ended. That rift you keep seeing over there on the horizon, by the way, is the final section of this level. You can't get up there until you get to the actual certain phase to do it, though. So all I'm doing here is I've just got to kill off a couple more rogues and that. As you see there, they crawl out the ground. The skeletons are quite cool because the necromancer gets the same effect with their pet. Is the skeleton sort of pops itself out the ground, which always makes me laugh. Now this is again the same tent area I was at earlier. This guy gives you another bag, so that's 2 bags so far. 3 in total, so you've also got your little backpack and some scrolls of, I think I picked dexterity there. So there you go, as you can see, quest complete. Next quest is to fire a catapult, I think. Oh no, this is to collect remnants of corpses. It's always fun. So grab the quest off Cyril as well, which is to kill some big duty who's causing us lots of problems. And the general vendor. Now, one thing that I've read about from a lot of people's perspective is sell everything that's crap that you carry. So if you don't need it, sell it. Some items can be broken down, and again I'll cover that if I ever get to a level where I actually have a trade skill and a profession that I can show you that. But those items that don't get broken down, you can just sell straight away to the merchant, make a fair bit of money. I mean, as you see, I'm already, I think I was on about 6 gold at this point. I might be 8. But that's just through selling. Everything I pick up, I sell. Every quest item I don't need, I sell. There is a skills trainer, so you have to like purchase ranks for your skill, so to speak. Like Warcraft used to have, instead of them leveling fluidly with you, you had to go and buy them. But other than that, I mean, they're not that expensive, I must admit. So far, don't appear to be a massive money sink. But I'll imagine those do exist somewhere around. There's probably going to be trade skills if most MMOs are anything to go by. It cost a lot to level, and then you can make a lot back from them. Now, as you see here, I do a lot better now with the pet out than I did before, because it's just a simple case of stack explosives, blow it up. But also there's a couple of times here where I don't realise what I'm doing, and I'm actually stacking combo points and not the explosions, and you can see when they happen. because I stack a whole load, then hit detonate and nothing happens. I do the detonate animation, I cost my combo points, but nothing takes any damage. That was kind of my main giveaway. That's when I sort of stopped and think, hang on, I'll have to read the spells. Once we reach the top of this area, there's a small, sort of like a boss encounter, so to speak. The guy you saw appear on the ramp halfway up is actually working from up here. He kind of comes down to harass you, which I thought was quite cool. It's kind of like you get to see who you've got to deal with. You don't get to kill him, unfortunately, but you do get to see who he is and what he's doing there. Now these carrion flayers are what you've got to kill. As you see, they've got little chain scythe things around their arms and they kind of whip you with them. You've got to kill them to get the human remains, and then once you've got enough of those, you can engage this guy. Now you've got to disable this little generator, and when you do that, it frees his crazy elemental thing to go nuts on you. It's pretty much just an event fight. It's a little bit stronger than most things that you'll come across at this level, but it's not unbeatable. When I first played through the beta, when one of the earlier, I think it was 5 or 6, this guy, we came around here in a group of 4 of us, and we just steamrolled through him. It was just like, bam, he's dead. Problem is, if you do level in a group, doing the starting area in a group, you do miss some of the cool things. You kind of, stuff dies before you even get near it, or some of your colleagues might complete quests, or some of your friends might complete quests before you've actually got the chance to see what they're about. So I always recommend playing through the tutorial on your own. Maybe when you're leveling in the future, you grab your friends and that. Anyway, what this guy's done now is, I've done enough damage to him, he's now run away with like a stun effect. As you can see, the game's a bit blurry around the edges there, and then he's ran off. That's fine, because my quest to hand in is here. Now this rewards me with 2 cool things. One is my 3rd soul. As you can see, I've got a whole choice there, and I forgot to pick one. I've now gone for Riftstalker, which is... It's designed to go with the assassin and the other classes because it's like a movement increase one, but I thought, being a hunter and a range character, I want to stay at range. I don't want to end up getting too close to stuff. So instead of going for marksman, which is what the game says, oh yeah, we recommend you go for marksman, I thought, I know, I'm going to go for the Riftstalker. And the reason for that is twofold. Because it's a mobility tree, and again, staying at range, brilliant, you can move out. The other reason is it has blink. Yeah, exactly. A hunter with blink. It's awesome. But I say awesome, I must admit, I didn't really use it that much, apart from to get distance, but I suppose that's all it's really used for. I haven't looked into the tree itself to see if there's anything else worth going for, but again, I find playing through for the first time, you can play around with the souls all you like. You can respec later on when you get to that point. You do need to earn extra souls, so the 3 you pick here kind of you will be stuck with till you can actually start earning extra souls, which I've not come across yet. As you can see, I've also leveled up, so I've now asked for a trip back, so she turns me into a little ball and fires me back. This being my other favourite part of this level, like BAM! In you go, get across there. And as you can see, I'll play around with my spells. It gave me another basic level spell that I really didn't need to bother with, and that's the blink effect. As you can see, I sort of crouch and teleport forward, which I thought was quite cool. Now let's go to our quest giver, which didn't work. I've only had that happen a couple of times actually, but it does seem to be, if you're not on completely level terrain, it doesn't take you off, but then this area is quite flat and I didn't understand why it happened. So I submitted a bug report after I finished recording. I suspect it was just one of those, they like blink backwards that mages do. If it can't get a clear path, it kind of goes a bit funny. Anyway, this next set of quests consists of firing a catapult and riding a horse, pretty much. The idea being is that the enemies have started breaking out their big rifles. As you saw, this guy here just popped out the ground. It's like, rah, I'm going to hit you with my axe kind of mentality that he's got. Stacking explosives, blowing him up was my strategy in this case. My pet couldn't get aggro, and I'm not sure why. I don't know whether he's actually an event spawn that's meant to attack you. As you saw, I tried using my blink to escape there and it didn't work so well. But yeah, this guy just popped up out of nowhere, made me jump a mile when he did that. But yeah, the idea now is that we're going to start pushing our way across the battlefield. So in order to do that, we need to use their catapults against them. Now I'm going to just speed this up a bit because running to the catapults took a little while. That's a horse over there, by the way, that I was looking at going to. Now the cool thing about the catapults is that you don't need anything special, you just right click on them and they fire, which is quite cool. I must admit, I'd like to see this mechanic used in PvP if it's possible, sort of like stationary siege weapons. They don't have the overpoweredness of vehicles, but the ability just to fling stuff on people as they run across a field would be pretty awesome. As you see, there's another one over there, but it's guarded, so I've got to kill the guard quickly. Off goes my boar with his explosive charge. I must admit, there are a lot of spell effects in this game that are shiny. As you can see, the fire arrows I use, or the splitter shot as it's called, is like a fiery arrow. Detonation is a fiery explosion. You can never go wrong with too much fire, to be fair. So I fire the other catapult, there's the target, up it goes, and bonk, target dies. So that's the catapult's done, and I now just need to cleanse myself a horse, which there's one over here in the corner. And again it's guarded, so if I stab the guard with a boar, which doesn't stab the guard because it's busy. Okay, even without the boar, I'm not going to suffer from too much of a setback because I can kill these things quite easily on my own. As you can see, I don't take a lot of damage anymore, and the fact that I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve, such as the teleport away, the different shots and that I can do, the slow grenades, you build up quite quickly a way of dealing with situations. Obviously, being a rogue, you are one of the weaker classes. You can either go stealth or you can go ranged, and if you go ranged, I highly recommend getting the pet one first, the ranger one first, just because it makes it so much easier to level. Anyway, once you've got the horse, you've just got to run back. Now, I love the animation of the horse running. I kind of find it's really, really well done. It's a bit lacking in the turn. When you try and turn when you're stood still, it doesn't shuffle like they do in, again, Warcraft. It kind of just rotates on the spot. I think I'll try it in a sec. Yeah, there goes. You see it just rotates round, which I like the way that they shuffle round in Warcraft. It kind of just adds a bit to the game, but again, it doesn't really bother me too much. It's just little things like that, little niggles. Anyway, take your horse to the stable, it appears in the stable, and then you hand the quest in. So once that's done, that's the quest handed in. A new quest reward, so I'll equip my items. This guy's also got another quest for me, I believe. Yeah, this is the final quest of this level now. You need to kill Regulos and pretty much just put a stop to his plan. Now, if you talk to this guy again, he will let you ride your horse. So the same horse that you rescued earlier, he'll now let you ride into battle. And as I said earlier, now where we're going is to the Rift Fields. It does get quite dark actually when the rifts come in. The sky texture changes and the ground texture changes, which I always thought was quite cool. Not so much in this because it's designed to be there, but I still like the way as you ride towards it, it suddenly gets very dark. Now this area here, the idea is you stand in this circle and it kills everybody. For some reason my game went a bit funny and didn't actually kill them, they just stand there, but they are dead. If I mouse over them, you can actually see they're dead. So yeah, that's a bug that I reported as well. So we've now entered a rift, and it tells you all about rifts and playing in rifts. What it pretty much says is that spinning icon that's appeared underneath my mini-map now tells you what level the rift is on, so it's level 2, and then it tells you the quests you need to complete underneath that. So I need to kill these weird dragon things that have appeared. And to do that, there's only one solution to kill a dragon: explodinate it. So we stack up with explosives, detonate, run away, repeat. Or teleport, run away in my case. Again, I keep forgetting to throw down my sticky grenades, and my pet had died at this point, or not been summoned back. I can't remember what happened to it, I think it died. Now the other thing I should mention is that rifts work like public quests from Warhammer. As you can see, I've already been put in a group with other people. You can choose to join a group in some of the later ones. As you approach the rift, it comes up with a message saying join public group. So if it's a rift in the wild, you can go, oh yeah, I'll join the public group, or you can choose not to. By default, the game puts you in your own public group. So if anyone else comes along and say you're the only person at a rift, someone else comes along and goes, oh yeah, I want to join that public group, they can. They just click on it and they'll put it in the same party as you. If for some reason you don't want people joining your party, say you're in a party of friends and you're quite happy with that, or you don't want, you like questing on your own, you're not too interested in grouping up with other people, you can right click on your icon, party options, private party, so people can only join if you invite them. They can't join through the public quests. There are some people who do that, and that's fair enough. I mean, if you take part in a rift event, at the end of the day, everyone will help everybody. You're all working together, but you just might not get any heals because you don't appear on someone else's UI kind of thing. Anyway, that's Regulos killed. It's pretty much just a DPS fight. The NPCs do a lot. And use the quest item to finish the quest. So I'll let this play.
Guardian of the Vigil, your sacrifice has saved Telara from destruction. But the world is still in peril. See now, through prophetic eyes. The brood stirs. The ward falls. And you Utopia is undone. Mark well this prophecy of the rifts. We have chosen you as an instrument to prevent the coming apocalypse. Go with the grace of the Vigil.
So there you have it. You save Talara from one threat, only to come across another one. Such is the life of the MMO. Now, it's probably worth mentioning here, my thoughts on Rift so far is that I'm quite impressed by it. Since the last beta and to this current one, there's been quite a few improvements that even I've noticed. I must admit, I felt it was quite polished last time. It's even more polished this time. There's more emotes, things like that in place. Some of the spell animations were a bit sort of funny when you were watching them. They seem to have all been ironed out. They don't look so freaky anymore. But I'm impressed. But from the looks of it, Trion are aiming for a rather polished launch of this game, or in fact a highly polished launch, which, if successful, is going to set the standard for a lot of current MMOs that sort of turn out and they're like, oh, actually, yeah, we'll patch that, we'll fix that. With MMOs, there's never going to be a perfect release because there's always balance or anything else. You could spend years trying to balance it and you're never going to get it right. But Trion are doing a very good job so far of having everything sized up to what it should be, and it feels playable. It doesn't feel like the mechanics are broken. So I will hopefully be doing a few more of these videos over the course of the week. It's a 6-day beta, so I'll try and do as many as possible. And I hope you tune back in for more of them. So until that time, I've been Metroid2K, and this has been Riftwatch. Thank you.